On this episode 113 of the podcast, I'm going to talk about camping. Yes, so let's get into it, everybody. Hello, and welcome everybody back to another episode, another edition of the Luke Who's Talking podcast with me. Luke, how you doing out there? So last time, I was about to say last week, was it last week? No, whenever it was, last time. Yeah, there wasn't an episode because I was out and about camping. Yeah, so I just got to really talk to you about that. But when some things, I've made quite a few notes, but yeah, we'll start off with it. So so I've not been camping actually for quite a while. Probably I reckon 2018 coming into early 2019, I reckon. I've not been camping for. I don't think I went early 2020. Or maybe early 2020. Oh, I don't think so. I think it was early 2019. Anyway, it's been a while. It's been a while. So some friends and I, we went... a friend and I, we went camping up around near St Helens, which is a coastal little town here in Tasmania. So, cool, fine, no problem. So it's, how far is it? It's 130k drive, I think. Is it that far? Oh, excuse me. Or is it further? Why am I yawning? I was fine before, now I'm yawning. Let's get directions. Let's start here. Okay. And let's go to... I'm sure it's about 130 kilometres. No. Well, apparently Google reckons it's 150. Yeah, right. Yeah, we went that way. And we went that way. Okay. Well, 166 Ks apparently, according to Google. Sure. Anyway, so we drove over to St Helens and a lot of camping areas around there. So we got there, so we went for, I think it was 4 nights. So we went Thursday, came home on the Monday. Then we got there on Thursday. We sort of went looking for a site. Now, we went to... my friend was like, okay, so we'll try this place. So we went into one of the campsites, full of like massive caravans. So like, okay, so we went somewhere else, full of massive caravans, and we went, somewhere else, full of massive caravans, and so we sort of got out of our vehicles at one point. And we're like, okay, let's just have a little bit of a assessment, right, of where we could go, because we were like quite surprised. All the campsites were full. So we went to, let me see, I'm having a look on the map. We went to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we didn't go up there. So we went to 5 different sites, and they were all pretty much full. Now, we went to the 6th one. Once we got into the 6th one, there was somewhere there for us, and we're like, oh, we'll try one other place. So we went down the road back towards St Helens a little bit more, and we went to a place over here, Humbug Point, it's called, and we managed to get a site there, which was actually, it was quite a nice one, and the beach was real close as well, just like 30 metres away, right? It's not a very long place at all. But yeah, my friend and I were like, what is the go with all these darn caravans and such? We're like bamboozled by it. It's like what he like, because we're like, school's going back, right? Work, everybody like works normal again. Sort of like holidays are over. What's the go of all these caravans and such? And they're like massive caravans. People have their big ass caravans and their huge Land Cruisers to pull them. We're like, gosh. Anyway, it was quite astonishing. It was quite astonishing. But anyway, it's fine. We got a campsite. I think we got quite a good one. And set up and relaxed. Cracked open a coldie then after that. Anyway, everybody, let's get into another thing that went on the camp trip right after this. So one thing that you don't want to have really happen when you're camping is rain. I mean, rain's okay, but you don't want a lot of rain. So, and this I think will lead into like a little bit of a riff about something probably on the next episode. I don't know. I've got lots of camping stories, but camping stories, things to talk about regarding the camping. But anyway, so one night, it was actually the Saturday night, we had a bit of rain. Now I have a swag, right? My swag. Now I'm not sure if it has actually been wet before. I've used it a couple of times, but I'm not 100% sure if it's been wet before. I'm not 100%. Anyway, but so it's rain comes, swag starts to leak, or water, I'll say seep. Water started to seep into it. Right. Less than ideal. So what I did, I decided to, and I think it was probably a good choice, but I decided to leave the swag and relocate to the car for the night. And it rained pretty much all night. Right, it started at probably midnight, and it was rained pretty much all night. But the next day was quite hot, so everything dried out, which was good. But yeah, so it was, it started to seep in the water, and I was like, this isn't okay. So I decided to relocate to the car for the night, and and I don't think it was a bad move. That said, the next morning I checked out the tent and my swag and sort of got inside whatever else, and it wasn't like that bad. But the thing is, right, it had a little bit of water had gotten in on the bottom, or say it had like the canvas had gotten wet and it sort of seeped in. Now, the thing is, the mattress, right, is just a big piece of foam, so it's like a sponge. So if you have a puddle of water or something a little bit wet and you put a sponge on it, just sit it on there, it's fine. But if you push down on that sponge, it'll suck that water up. So that was sort of like how the bed was. I checked it out in the morning, run my hands over it, was like, oh, it's dry. But when I got in there and I sort of put my knees on the mattress, obviously it was a little bit moist underneath, and like sucked up that water, and I could feel it was like cold wet on my knees. And so I was like, okay. But yeah. But anyway, what we did that day is I opened it up, and I unzipped the sides, rolled it up, let the sun get in there, the air flow through it, and dried it out, which was nice. And everything else wasn't, like my bedding and such, because I just sort of had my sleeping bag, and then I rolled it up. Actually wasn't wet. I was a little bit damp in a couple of spots, but apart from that, it was pretty decent. So, but that was good. That was fine. So, yeah. Anyway, something else we got up to after this, and we'll be wrapping it up. So where we were, of course, when you're camping, unless you have stuff, literature or whatever to sort of keep yourself amused, right? not really much to do, we'll be honest. Phone signal where we were was okay, but the 4G was not great. You put the radio on, right? There were some caravans there, they had like TVs. We're like, yeah, you don't need that, right? Anyway, it's pretty relaxing. But a few days we went for a couple of road trips. Anyway, one day, I think it was the Friday, if I remember correctly, we went for a drive up to a place called The Gardens. Now, The Gardens is pretty much at the end of the road. So we left our campsite. Actually, probably would have been a decent drive. Left our campsite. We went past all the campsites where we couldn't get somewhere to stay the previous night. And then we're like, the road is pretty much on the coast. And then you go, but yeah, it stays on the coast. And we went right up to the garden. Now, this is where the road ends. Now, the gardens is just huge, big rocks on the coast. So you can climb up on the rocks and have a look around at the rocks. And not like the next place, like when you're looking out to the sea. So this is sort of a northeast Taz. And like the next place is New Zealand. So let me see. We were sort of there. Just trying to see what lines up. Probably the tip of the South Island. The Karamea Bight, is that right? Yeah. I can't read that. Little Wagnui, I'm going to say that is directly opposite, right? Somebody out there listening will hopefully get that. But, yeah, so we were up the top. The road stopped, so couldn't go any further. And, yeah, went up onto the rocks and around the gardens and such. It was actually pretty nice. How far away was that from our site? Can I click on that? Okay, yeah, and then... wow. Okay. There's a beach up near the garden. It's called Suicide Beach. Not happy about that. So, okay, it's not that far. It's about 18.5 kilometres or so from where our campsite was. So, yeah, about half an hour or so to get up there. It was quite nice. And the road, in some places, really close to the coast. And the water was quite amazing. Yeah, it was really nice up there. Like, it was windy, of course, because, you're on the coast, but it was actually really nice. And I took quite a few photos, so I'll have to upload some to the Insta. I think I'll have to go through them and upload a few pictures to the Instagram so if you're not following me on Instagram, everybody, at Lukey_newsreel on Instagram. Get over there and follow it. Shameless plug there. But anyway, thanks for listening. We'll go to a jingle and we'll wrap it up after this. So everybody, thank you very much for listening to the podcast. Thank you very much for watching it, if you watched it. And you can follow me on Twitter at L_who's talking. Actually, no, it's just L_who's, isn't it? Oh, you know what? I can't remember what the Twitter handle is. Yeah, it's L_who's talking, I think. Yeah. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz, everybody. And look, thank you very much for listening. Thank you for watching if you watched. And I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye.